Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to P2P Relates, where we talk about all things relationships. I'm Pat Renfro, and today, as you see, I have another wonderful guest here, Miss Chiffon. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Today, we're going to be talking about youth and what we think they're wrestling with today. And I think she's an authority on it, so I'm going to let her tell you why.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, world. My name is Chiffon, and I'm so happy to be here, Pat. Thank you for inviting me again. I am originally from Kansas City, Missouri, and yeah, so I lived there majority of my life, and I also did a lot of different things as far as like traveling with this group called Masters Commission, and then I ended up here in Seattle because a friend of mine asked me to come here. His name is Mike, and he was like, hey, I have a job opportunity for you to move here to Seattle. And at the time, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, like a lot of issues. I went through a divorce. My job actually fired me because of something crazy. It wasn't even nothing serious, but it was just like everything in my world was going down. And I was literally raised, like do everything you're supposed to, go to college, do this and that. My parents were like really, really strong, putting me in the right path. So this part of my life, I was around like 34. So I was definitely in a different space. Like it was very different. And so for me to move from comfort to a new place, it was scary, but I knew that's where God had me because it was just time. The timing was perfect. So now I'm here in Seattle and I work for Youth for Christ. And it's been a journey because all my life I always worked with youth. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something that had to do with youth. When I was a middle schooler, they used to have a lot of commercials, feed the hungry in Africa. Like that was like always on the TV. Right. And so I said, that's what I want to do. Like I want to be a missionary, but the whole ordeal of what I was going to do. But that was my heart. Like that was like a desire. And so I always did something for the community. I was always doing school assemblies. I was always in different programs. Like it was always a part of my life, if it was free or if it was paid for. So for me to actually come from the corporate world to actually doing something that is motivating with youth and a different town, a different city, a different demographic, like everything about this place is different. It was like God, like it was nothing else. Like I couldn't even imagine. I was thinking about moving, but moving to Florida. So this has been my journey as far as like these last few years. I'm a person that wants to see youth grow. I'm a person that wants to see my people, Black people grow. Like I just love the fact that wherever I'm at, I want to be on point and be used by God. Really, just that's just my main focus. So now that I'm here at Youth for Christ, I'm a program director and I work with the South End, which is a different vibe. These kids are different. This life is different. So yeah, that's just a little glimpse of me. I know I just said a lot, but that's me.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm good with that. So Chiffon, what would you say is the prevailing issue for youth today? I mean, in this channel, we talk about personal development, friendships, dating, marriage, and business relationships. So in the context for youth, I would say it's a lot of the same. It's self-development, friendships, dating, and then school, educators, people of authority. So of all those entities of relationships that age group has to manage, what would you say is the one thing that they're wrestling with the most?
Identity. I think that right now, since the pandemic, I feel like right now at this moment, because if we go back 2 years, I could answer this question totally differently. But right now, I feel like the development they lost have 2 years basically of their life. And so to be social is very hard. To be real to someone or to be honest is they're very sensitive. So it's like it's for them, it's like communication skills, just understanding where they are. If you were before the pandemic, you were in 6th grade, now you're in 8th grade. Or if you was a 3rd grader, now you in 5th grade. Like that in itself, you're still mindset is a 3rd grader. Your mindset's still a 6th grader. So it's like I'm already moving. The world is moving, it's nonstop, but I'm still in the same space. So to talk to them about anything that has to do with maturity or where they are at the level they are. Even when I think about my sophomores, when I went to the school, I was with them all day and I was with them all the time. And so then when we took that break, we were doing Zoom calls and I could just see like they were like depressed because they lost time. They lost, what they thought was popular, what they thought was, important. Like you got to have your school dances, you got to have this, you got to have that. So to compare where they are in life and where they see like, oh, my mom did this, or my sister did this, or everyone else did this before me, I have lack of this. So the social part is gone, the energy. I remember when I was younger, we used to be hyped. Like it was like if someone told us to do something, we had energy. Like, no one had to pull anything out of me. But with them, it's like, okay, come on, let's do this. It's just lacking that community skill, identity. They're just behind. And it's not their fault. It's just what it is. And so to discipline, even when I had to deal with it in a small sense because I work with a daycare. And this little girl, she wanted something from me, but she was acting like a baby and she's in 3rd grade. So I was like, I had to like think differently, not just like, okay, do this, like be really harsh on her, but I had to be patient. And it takes a lot of patience dealing with the youth now. So I would feel that it's a real hard time for them. I really think that it's just not a normal space that they should be in.
That is so sad and so
Yeah,
true. Well, when I think about before the pandemic, what would add to that? Because what I'm thinking is that with social media already being a very prevalent part of how they communicate, how do you see that impacting?
It's all sexualized. It's nothing for them to relate to. Like it's hard to even watch TV. Like I have my boyfriend's daughter sometimes, and she's 16. She's about to turn 17, and just watching a show that we might like, I get uncomfortable because this might be a scene that's inappropriate that just will pop up on TV. So it's like, okay, close your eyes. Like this ain't for you. Like it ain't even for me. What am I looking at? Like it's like you can't watch nothing. You can't pull nothing on your social media. You can't listen to nothing on the radio. Everything is just sexualized and inappropriate. And I was just looking at a interview with this little girl named Lele and it's Dylan. They're like little kid superstars. And they were saying that it was hard for them. Like they would ask the question that was asked to them was, well, who is your inspiration in music? And who do you like? And blah, blah, blah. And so they're naming all these singers, but their songs are not on point. Like they're good songs for adults, but not for children. And then they were saying, I want to make song and music for my people,
Generation,
so that it gets generation, because we don't have nothing. And so she was like, I want to have the same beat and the same music, but I want it to be inspirational and I want it to be clean. And I'm like, for her to say it, and she's in 9th grade and the other kids are like in 7th grade. This is real.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
It ain't like we're saying it as adults. No, the kids are actually saying it, but some of them are wanting to be grown. Some of them want to have that feeling because we go through that when you're teenagers, but you don't know that because that's what you see. So your identity is what it's on your phone. It's what you see on social media. That's what you know. Like my body needs to look like this. My attitude needs to be like this. I have to have this type of status. Like even talking to them, I was talking to them about social media and to being famous on social media. And one of my girls was like, all I want to do is just be famous on there. I said, but what then what? Like that
For
don't
real.
get you nowhere. Like fame
Mm-mm.
is not all that. And so
Mm-mm.
it's like that's what they're driving to be because that's all they know and see.
Mm-hmm. That's all they see.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Like when they're dealing with all that, they're faced with all that. So what do they get from you all when they come toward the organization?
Because I teach dance, so I didn't mention that I am a dance teacher.
Oh,
And so, so
cool.
that's I've been dancing all my life. Like my
Okay.
mom used to be like, "Girl, okay." I'd be like,
Go sit down somewhere, huh?
Yeah." But that's one of the roles that I play here in Seattle. So I'm a coach for Franklin. I'm a coach at RVLA, and then I teach dance at the Culture House, where we are hosted by ECBF.
So
And
you're a dance coach?
I'm a dance coach. Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah, so I've been doing it for a long time. And they already know my status. Like they know, okay, Miss Chiffon don't play. You ain't gonna be popping and dropping. Not here. We might do some moves. We might, we might groove. I might do some new stuff. But you ain't gonna be doing all the extra, like that's inappropriate. So even that goes for the music. So it's definitely harder to be selective in it because of what's there, but I know how to get by it by like, okay, use the clean version. If it's no way that you can clean it, we just ain't gonna use the song at all. So it's just presenting them something different because if they go to another studio, they might not get that same energy. It might be do whatever and you just dance and you could go for it. Like, but for me, I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. And I feel like they need realness. Like they need somebody real. They need somebody that will tell them about themselves. And it was crazy because just correcting at first they will be like, oh, you're mean or you're not nice or it's not, but it's like if you don't do that, then when I do it after maybe a couple months, they're like, I love you so much because they see in structure. They're seeing someone that cares. They see someone that is not gonna let them do whatever because some of the girls that I do work with have been in foster care, have been homeless. And so they don't have parents and they don't have nobody telling them what is going on and how to be, a woman or how to be respected. And for me to be honest and to be not accepting, not accepting that behavior, catching them by like talking about like, okay, I did see this on your social media. What's up? What's going on? Let's just talk about
That's
it.
good.
And it's like I've been hated sometimes, and then sometimes it's like, thank you for noticing that, thank you for caring. And so that's what I would say in this situation. I feel like it's more about just being honest. It's more about just letting them know the truth because they give so much lies, telling them that they're beautiful, telling them that I want to see confidence. It is crazy because you would think the most confident person that look like they have it all together are the most insecure, the most terrified. And for me to bring the honest perspective and letting them know who they are, who they are in the inside, and then also the spiritual side, also with just everything like their life,
The whole person.
the hope, that the future, everything about it, like just pour in just encouragement. It changes them because all they see or all they know is this fake view of life.
Yeah, this superficial view. On that one. Okay. So you mentioned about confidence and helping them with their confidence. How do you do that? And how do you encourage them to work on that? And I pair that with self-awareness. Like, how do you help them become more self-aware?
I think more so I would just go from dancing, right? You could tell when a person is moving with confidence, and you could tell one is not. And so the other one is looking at somebody else, or they're paying attention to what the other person is thinking. And so I'll just in that scenario, I'll say, hey, stop, look at yourself in the mirror. You're doing great. Just work on this, just do this and that. And then I'll just talk about it. Like, You are beautiful. Know that you are. You need to start saying affirmation to yourself. And so one thing that I do, I tell them look themselves in the mirror and say something encouraging to yourself. So I'll be like, Shafan, you had a hard day, but you got through it today. You know, like literally look at yourself and see. And then sometimes it's like they will cry, sometimes they don't want to do it, but it's like in order to be confident, sometimes you have to teach it. And I never been the most confident. I always was shy, and people be like, you're shy. Like, I'm so shy. Like if I'm in a different I guess a new space, I feel like I just shut down and I just be watching people like what they doing. And so they'd be like, and so some people used to ask me, are you shy? And I'd be like, I guess, but then when I'm in my element, I'm like, I'm alive. So it's a difference. But then I also started to realize what was inside of me that is attractive to people. And that I have to recognize that for myself first, instead of just wanting to get
the compliments from people. Right.
That you can be the most beautiful person and be the lowest confidence and lowest self-esteem.
I love what you said, because as you were talking about how you helped them with their confidence, I thought about recently when we had the women's fellowship about 3 Saturdays ago. And at the end of it, we were given paint, watercolors and a canvas to paint. And I know that about myself. I know that just naturally, I don't always flow in artistic movement. And so what I tend to do is look around and see what other people are doing. But then as soon as I look around, I recognize that now I compare what I haven't done yet, what I can't think of, with what somebody else has already done. And so this particular day, I made a decision. I said, I refuse to look at anybody. I know it may seem, while they're clapping and encouraging each other, there's enough people here to do that for them. But right now, what Pat needs to do is not look at anybody else's artwork, because if she does, she's going to compare herself. And I just said, nope, I'm going to do me. And I did me and got through it. And even now I look at it and go like, that looks a little dumb, but it was mine. I enjoyed it. I finished it. And that was important. And I think people, as we go forward and we're working on ourselves, we've got to, like she said, stand in that mirror and say, you know what? I'm beautiful. And maybe sometimes you can't say it. Maybe you don't believe it. I remember, and it wasn't that long ago. I think it was about 8-9 years ago. I was standing in the mirror and I was apologizing in my mind about what I looked like, because I always thought I looked such a plain Jane. And God told me he was going to show me me. And that particular day, all day long, without me standing in front of the mirror, he showed me me. Wow. And when he got through showing me me, I didn't have that insecurity anymore. I knew that I was beautiful.
Amen.
And I think sometimes you just gotta start where you can.
It, yeah.
And my sister,
no one tells you like what but that's what I also tell Mike. What is the definition of beauty? We have so many different views, like and who created beauty? The one that created was God. And if you look outside, you'll see the beauty in the sky, you'll see beauty in the trees, you see this beauty, but the perception that the world is given is perverse. And what you see for yourself, like look in and knowing who you are. Like your skin is beautiful, your hair is beautiful, your lips, your big nose, whatever you have that's not proportioned, because it's different, it's beautiful and different. And that's why when you even see models, sometimes they go for the most, we would think the most ugliest person, but to them they're beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even say they're ugly. Like I'm just saying, what would the society say? Yeah. But then they get up there and they're top models. Because they're awkward, they have something different. Their nose is, wider, or they have a bald head, or it's something different about them. Too many freckles, like that. That is beauty. Diversity is beauty, and
that's awesome.
And we have to accept it. We have to accept those little small traits that we are the most uncomfortable with.
Absolutely. So last question. If some of the young girls that you work with from all the different places were in a room together, what would you say they wrestle with? Would they agree with you 100%, or what would they say?
My girls are very, very, very expressive. So I think they would agree in a sense. And they would say it in a different way. They would probably just say it's hard. They would say it's hard to be Black. It's hard to be in this fast-paced society because they're like, I don't know what I want to do, because one, living here in Seattle is not the easiest. And so in order to get respect, you have to have money. And a lot of them come from poverty. So it's like they don't really have a strong sense of like, what am I going to do next? And so I think right now they would just be in this moment and say, they will be like, I don't know. I think that's what I always will get out of them. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what's going to happen. And I want more, but they're trying to figure it out.
Got it. Well, I want to invite those young people in a room one day soon.
Yeah,
we can just hear from them and not
they can talk themselves. They know how to use their words. So
good.
And they might be quiet. They just you have to invite them in, and that's by being, friendly or respecting their decisions too, because they have. Some of their ways are way different, because I'm very traditional. Like I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and I'm not gonna do this. But they have a more broader view because of their generation and how they grow up here. And so because I'm from a Midwest point of view, I can be more strict. And so they would have more of a broad communication than I would, for sure.
That's so well put. That would be a good explanation for me, because we're both from Kansas City.
Yeah.
I've been running into all these Kansas City people lately, and I love it. Love it. So, well, Chiffon, we're going to close it off. Hey, y'all, if this was relevant to you, please pass it on. Please help other people hear that the young people, they need us. They are going through a lot. The pandemic has not really been their friend. And there's just a lot going on out there, and they need us. They need guidance. They need support. They need love. They need authenticity. And we need them. We need their voice. We need to know what they care about. We need to know what they need. All of that. So thank you so much for the work you do, Chiffon. And folks, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next Friday. That's when I post.
Click that button.
That's right. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.